Coming up, I'm going to teach you how to avoid complacency. And then we're going to dive into Goldman Sachs' huge layoffs, what staffers are saying about it, and what it means to you. And we're going to coach you up. Let's go. Helping you, coaching you to make the difference that you were born to make, and doing it in a cardigan. Nobody else is doing that. Let's go, shall we? All right, let's talk about complacency. I think that as we look at a new year and we look at a season where we're surrounded by resolutions, and some of you are really hanging on by a thread to keep that resolution going, and the science and the data says that resolutions fall off very quickly. I think we need to really dive deep for a second on what really holds us back. And I'm very dedicated to helping you all see these things. And then once you see them, overcome them, avoid them. That's why we're doing this. Complacency is a cancer. What is complacency? According to the dictionary, complacency, or to be complacent, is, and listen to this, and as you listen to this, say, do I see this in myself? Complacent means to be marked by self-satisfaction, especially when accompanied by unawareness of actual dangers or deficiencies. Let me shorten it so it soaks in. How do I know if I'm complacent? Ask yourself this question. Am I really satisfied? Where am I satisfied? What am I satisfied with? Why am I satisfied? Are you aware that you're satisfied? You're sitting around going, I'm comfortable. I'm okay. If you're saying things like, I'm comfortable, I'm okay, you are sitting on the precipice, the edge of complacency, or you are absolutely taking a nice warm bath in it with the rubber ducky. Hey, I think I'm taking a nice warm bath. No, you're soaking in complacency because it's marked by unawareness of danger or deficiency. Here's how I would define complacency. If I was making my own dictionary, I would define complacency as smugness. That's kind of perfect today. I'm talking about smugness, and I have an article of clothing on that would be perceived maybe as smug. I'm trying to bring back the cardigan. Make cardigans great again. It's my campaign slogan. Appreciate your vote in November. Complacency is a smugness, an overconfidence that makes us look at our world, look at our predicament, look at our reality and say, it's good enough. It's good enough. It's fine. It's okay. And it's dangerous. Complacency sneaks up on us. It's a mindset that I think we slide into. We accidentally kind of shift or shuffle into it. I don't think anybody wakes up and goes, you know what? I think I'm going to be complacent today. Of course, nobody says that. And it's hard to identify because we can become complacent almost at the exact same time that we experience success. In other words, I want you to go think through a time in your life, maybe it was recently, maybe it was 6 months ago, a year ago, whatever, and it was a time of success. There was a great achievement, a great success moment in your life, any area of your life. And you know it was great and significant and successful to you because of how it made you feel. And I want you to just remember how you felt in the days and weeks after. How long did you hold on to that? Were you grateful or were you just soaking in it? And if we're not careful, we will achieve some success and then we let off the gas. If we're not careful, we can become complacent. An unawareness that I am heading towards financial danger, an unawareness that I'm heading towards relationship danger, an unawareness that I'm heading towards professional danger. Complacency is really marked by a lack of awareness. There's a legendary comedian, Will Rogers. And I'm paraphrasing if I'm not getting this exactly right, but he has a great quote that really illustrates what I'm talking about. He said, "It doesn't matter if you're on the right road. If you're stationary, you're going to get run over." This is complacency. I'm on the right path to winning financially in my life. I'm on the right path to winning professionally. I'm on the right path to winning relationally. Hey, everything's good with Stacy now. Our marriage is good right now. So I'm just going to hunker down. I let my focus off of what got us to this good spot in our marriage. I'm going to let my focus off of what got me to a place of financial peace. I'm going to let myself lose focus on what I want to do with my life, the results that I want to put. And I just got to go, I've made some progress. I got the promotion. I got a nice bump in pay. And we just begin to sit and we go, okay, this is pretty good. And before we know it, we get run over because the rest of life is moving on. The rest of life is progressing. If we are not growing, we are slowly dying. Gee whiz, Ken, that's a little heavy. You better believe it's heavy because complacency is a cancer that sneaks up on us. So what's the solution? There's two ways to fight complacency and keep it at bay. To keep it away, you want to build a fence around yourself to where you aren't complacent? Two ways. First, curiosity. Second, generosity. What do I mean? Curiosity. See, complacency is just fine with the way things are. Yeah, I got it. It's comfortable. It's good. I'm not learning. I'm not growing. I'm just being, baby, right? I'm just happy. It's good. Be happy, yes. But if I'm not growing, I'm not learning. And curiosity is what drives learning. Curiosity. All of us come into this world hardwired for this. Little toddlers are the greatest learners of all time. Why, Daddy? You tell them. Why, Daddy? You tell them again. Why? They're insatiable. Curiosity. I'm learning. If I'm learning, I'm growing. If I'm complacent, I'm languishing. I'm just kind of hanging out. Second way to fight complacency, keep it at bay, generosity. Complacency is, I got what I want. Just going to sit here and soak in it. Generosity is, I've been given so much. I've been blessed. I'm now going to give it away. If I'm giving, I cannot be complacent. Because if I'm giving what I have been given, I'm on fire because I'm now seeing exponential benefit of what I've achieved. Remember this, success is not about achievement. Success is about contribution. What have I given away as a result of what I have achieved? That's the issue. So remember, purpose in your life is you being who you are supposed to be. In other words, you doing what you're supposed to do, you giving to the world what only you can give. You live that way, you'll never be complacent. Do you know what you were born to do? In order to get hired at a job you love, you need to get clear on your talent, passion, and mission. That's why our team created the Career Clarity Guide. In just a few minutes, this free tool will walk you through a process to discover what you do best, that's your talent, the work you love to do, that's your passion, and the results that matter to you, your mission. Then you'll feel more confident throughout the job search process. To get started, go to kencoleman.com/clarity. Layoffs. Going to hear a lot about layoffs because the news thrives on scaring the crap out of you. Can we just get real? The news is designed to freak you out because if they freak you out, they hold you a little longer. I guess if I wanted my show to really blow up, I would just start with, the economy is going to crash. Here's 3 reasons why, and everybody watch it. I'm not doing that. I'm not a fearmonger. I'm a truth teller. And that's why I do this. Of the people, by the people, for the people. Hi, I'm Ken. All right, now, because you're going to hear a lot about layoffs, you need to have perspective and you need to be prepared. So we're going to cover perspective and preparation right here. The hard reality is that many people are projecting, many economists, and now the media's picked it up because, again, it's just juicy fear, that we are going to head into a likely recession sometime this year, lasting into 2024. There's your consensus opinion right now. How big, how deep, how long, nobody's predicting because they don't know. So what happens is when economists and the media start talking about recession, CEOs, boards of public companies start freaking out and they get the pucker factor. And they start going, oh boy, we better lay some people off so we can juice our profit margins, tighten it up so we keep our stock price where we want to be. That's what they're about. So they treat people like commodities, not people. You are a unit of production. If I lay you off, if I lay this many of you off, we reduce our expenses, position ourselves well for a recession, and keep our stock price high. Folks, I'm not making this up. That is essentially what CEOs and boards of public companies think about. They'll hire you quickly and fire you even faster. Now, don't start doing this whole, I'm a victim, I hate the man. That's not what I'm talking about, but we can be prepared. I'm going to talk to you about how to be prepared for a layoff very tactically. I'm going to get you prepared. But understand why it's happening. It doesn't mean that our economy is going into the depths of despair. It's not at all. All right. So here's another story that's making the rounds. Goldman Sachs. Sorry. Whoa, that was a slip. They laid off a bunch of people. And they are doing exactly what I described. Goldman Sachs, big time company. They're thinking about their position as a financial company. I mean, it's all about branding. It's everything. So they're going, oh, we got to cut. So they kicked off its most brutal round. They've been laying people off for a while, but their most brutal round of layoffs in at least a decade happened this week, sending a lot of their jilted employees to social media because that's what we do now, right? We go to Facebook, we go to TikTok, we go to Instagram, and we bare our souls. So they started around Tuesday and continuing into Wednesday, and it's going to include all in about 3,200 employees. That's a lot. 6.5% of its total workforce is being laid off. Multiple cities around the country. And what happened is that people went to social media to describe how the layoffs happened. And this is just bad bossery, especially from a company that's been around this long that has this many resources. Hardest hit were consumer lending because the housing market has slowed down. That makes a lot of sense. And by the way, it doesn't make Goldman Sachs evil. This is the reality of mortgage lending, that when the housing market slows down, they lay off people. It's not that they laid them off that I take issue with. It's how they laid them off. They didn't talk to them. And the way it was rolled out was even worse. Here's an example of a social post from a consumer banking associate that was laid off. Every 10 minutes, I just kept hearing that someone was being let go. Word was spreading. Here. And they're sitting there going, am I going to get laid off? And they eventually got laid off. That's not dignity. It's not respect. That's the kind of crap that happens at middle schools and high schools. We're better than that, leaders. We should be better than that. Now, the first cut's targeted low performers. Why do I bring this up? You want to increase your chances of not getting laid off in a recession? Maximize your role. Be valuable. You're valuable as a human, yes, but be more valuable as an employee. Crush it. Make yourself indispensable. Where do they go first? Low performers. Culling the herd, I believe is the phrase. Right? What are they doing? Getting out the weak ones, the ones that aren't performing. You know you do have some control in this, don't you? Now, I'm the first one to knock this kind of stuff and poor leadership. But let me also say that you have some responsibility in this and you have some power in this. So low performers. One laid off VP said there was high anxiety and the layoff should have just been done more quietly. It was spreading around. It was rumored that it was going to happen. People were on edge, freaking out. That's not good communication. Leaders, you know what's going on way before the rumors start getting out. Treat people with dignity. Tighten up. Keep a lid on the conversations and then communicate clearly, quickly, concisely, respectfully. That didn't happen. Another associate said for almost a month, we've known something was coming. If they know something is coming, you've known it way before them. Come on, leaders. They go on to say communication throughout this has been very lacking. Rumors rampant, no communication from leaders. Come on. If the employees and the team are hearing the rumors, you leaders are hearing it, you may have started it. Shame on you. Shame on you. So what do you do to be layoff proof? What do you do? Now, I'm part of Ramsey Solutions. I co-host the Ramsey Show, #1 show in the world on personal finance. So how do we prepare for a storm? What do? We go get extra supplies, right? We build a bunker, right? Whatever it is. This is the same deal. How do we prepare for a layoff? First thing is come up with our actual plan. If I get laid off, what would I need? Well, the first thing is you'd need money. So have a 3 to 6 month fund of your expenses so that you don't have to use it all, but you don't have to have a job in the first 2-3 weeks. You've got money. Pay off debt, save up an emergency fund for 3 to 6 months. Second, have an escape plan. Escaping to something else. I've got my resume ready to go. More importantly, it's not about the resume. It's actually about connections. Are you staying in touch with people in your industry? Are you staying in touch with people who have the ability to hire you? Man, you're thinking about it all the time. It's a part of your daily rhythm. Who am I connecting with so that I can call somebody and go, hey, do you know somebody? You got something? Why wouldn't you have this built up? Some people call it a network. Fine. I call it the tree of opportunity. I got a full tree in my backyard with opportunities all over the tree in the form of people, connections, relationships. I've done things for them. They've done things for me. This isn't networking. This is truly connecting. Third thing you got to do is be ready to use those connections. Don't be worried about it and have any pride. People get laid off. It's not a label, it's your reality. That's how we prepare so that when the layoff happens, it's a nuisance, not an emergency. Are you wondering if you should leave your current job or stay put? You're not alone. That's why we created the Should I Quit My Job quiz. In just 5 minutes or less, this quiz will help you determine if you're at the right company and if you're in the right role. If you need to make a move, you'll even get practical next steps to keep you moving forward. Listen, stuck is a choice, and life is too short not to do what you were created to do. To take the quiz, go to kencoleman.com/quiz. Helping you win in your work and in your life. I'm Ken. Welcome to the program. Okay, in my never-ending desire to equip you with what you need to know and do, and then encourage you to do it, let's just hit you right between the eyes about a nagging problem for Americans, and that is the average American family has lost the equivalent of more than a month's salary in annual income since Biden took office as a result of high inflation, rising interest rates, rising costs. The average American household has lost the equivalent of $7,400 since that time, but it was already in play. So I'm not blaming Biden wholly, okay? There are multiple reasons why this has happened. I won't spend any time on it other than to say the pandemic shut down production. That increased demand, okay, and the supply wasn't there. That was the first issue. The second issue was the PPP loans, where the federal government started sending enormous amounts of money to companies and they were flush with cash. What do people do when they have cash? They spend it. So when companies spend, right, there's more money going in your pocket. We saw government payouts to individuals, extension of unemployment benefits. Everybody had more money. Everybody was spending. Demand was high. Economics 101, high demand, low supply, prices go up. Then we saw wages increase. Hourly wages, salary wages go up big time. Created the Great Resignation. 75 million plus people left their jobs in the last 2 years. Why? To get a higher pay, bigger paycheck. So when the kid at Taco Bell makes $14 or $16 an hour versus $12 an hour, your tacos are more expensive. Folks, this is just how it goes. Well, of the $7,400, about $6,000 was attributable to prices rising at a much faster pace than wages. Well, of course, companies can't keep track with rising prices. I've gotten this call before, and I see this people talking about this on social media. They're like, well, listen, inflation's up 8%, but I only got a 5% raise. It's not an apples to apples thing. Companies cannot give you a raise commensurate or similar to or equal to the raise in inflation. You can't do that. They've got a business. Then where are you? You're unemployed. Okay, so this is a real problem. Is inflation slowing a bit? A little bit. But inflation is still happening. So when you hear these reports, inflation is down, it's slowing. Well, no, it's up, but the rate of the increase of inflation has slowed. But we're still dealing with inflationary realities. Why? Of the reasons I gave you moments ago, it's wages. It's wages. And that's what makes all of this kind of confusing to you and why I'm informing you about this. Here's what you hear as an American right now in the news. This is what you hear. Unemployment, historically low, 3.5%. That's a good thing. But then you hear people can't fill jobs. Companies having a hard time finding employees. You go, well, that's not good. I go to my local restaurant and they shut off half the restaurant. Why? Can't find people to wait tables. So you go, well, that's not good. That's hurting small businesses. Then you hear, well, Fed's raising interest rates. 6.5%, almost 7% on a mortgage, whatever you hear that given day. And you go, man, that's really affecting the housing market. But then you hear wages grew at an all-time high. People making more money. And then you hear this. Groceries up. Gas is up. Utilities are up. My life's more expensive. I'm so confused. I'm making more money than I ever made, but it's not going as far as I want it to go. It's a confusing time. So I'm here to inform you that Number one, it's not as bad as you think it is. It's not as bad as the media is telling you. There are some economic fundamentals that make this a weird time. Okay? Inflation is not going to truly slow down and using a fancy word here, it's not going to abate, kind of pull back to a normal growth rate, which the Fed wants to see inflation year in, year out. So every year they'd like to see inflation only happen at about a 2.5%, maybe 2.3% rate. And it's growing at 6% right now. But that's not going to slow down, folks, as long as we have this gap in employment. Now, what's the gap in employment? And why does this matter to you? I'm giving you basic economics because I think it's our part to talk to our friends and family about this stuff and understand what's really driving it. Because we, the people, are the only ones that can solve this. Now, I'm going to go deep on this, Alex, because you all need to know what's driving this. You're not hearing this on a lot of television unless I'm on. I'm talking about it when I go on Fox or Fox Business. Here's what's going on. When the pandemic happened, when COVID happened, and everybody went home for a season. Depending on where you lived and what you did, it determined how long you were out of the workforce working at home. Here's what happened. There were a lot of people who were in retirement age who had the retirement nest egg to be able to go, you know what? My life has changed dramatically. I was forced to go home and work from home, or I was laid off. And it allowed me to kind of assess my life and the rhythm of life and what I want. You know what they did? They chose early retirement because they could. And so that created a deficit of 4 million workers. Okay? 4 million workers who were previously working in the pandemic, around the time of the pandemic, or in the middle of the pandemic, they said, I'm done. That creates a gap. Then, oddly enough, what's so wild about the pandemic is it created a lot of new jobs. Just one example is healthcare support. Not nurses, doctors, PAs, but people who would support them administratively or in some tactical way, but it wasn't providing actual doctoral or nurse type care. So they couldn't do that work, but they could do things that would take things off the plate of nurses, workers. You understand what I'm saying? All right, so that blew up. That's an example. Just one. A lot of new jobs. Delivery jobs. Everybody was ordering everything, hey, Uber Eats, Uber. People were like, hey, I could do this job, work for myself. And so what happened was the economy was already creating new jobs and then spun off new jobs to the amount of, oddly enough, 4 million new jobs. So 4 million jobs, 4 million workers left, didn't come back. But then we created 4 million new jobs that people were like, we need people. And then the real crazy societal thing is we have 7 million dudes. 7 million. Of which the majority aren't stay-at-home dads that are doing honorable work. That's amazing. That aren't retired. They're just staying with somebody, living with somebody. They're being supported by somebody because they've gotten their feelings hurt. And the data says they jumped out because they didn't feel they were making the progress in their career they wanted. They're not making the money they wanted. They didn't have the status they wanted. And so they took their ball and they went home. And mamas and daddies are supporting them. Wives are supporting them. Friends are supporting them. And they're sitting there and the number is in the millions. So now there's a gap. So what does this all mean? Companies are having to pay more money to attract people to get them in and work. And so in doing so, some of you are listening and watching me right now, and you've got somebody your age, younger than you, less experienced than you, came in and took the same job that you're doing, and they're making 15% more than you. And it sucks. And you're calling me, you're going, Ken, I feel devalued. You're not. You're just caught up in this weird economic reality where companies are having to pay more money than they would have paid to get somebody in, and you have lost. Hey, why do I tell you this? Because you need to understand the reality so that you can operate in clarity. I'm here to help you get through this.
If the thought of attending a networking event makes you break out in hives, you're not alone. And I'll let you in on a secret. Networking in the traditional sense doesn't work, but genuine connection is all about relationships. That's why we created Networking the Right Way. This free guide is the low-pressure, high-impact way to overcome the awkwardness, build real relationships, and turn your connections into opportunities. To get the guide, go to kencoleman.com/network.
Coaching you to make the difference you were born to make. I want you to make plenty of income, but I also want you to make plenty of impact in the lives of other people, because that's happiness. When Thomas Jefferson wrote in the Declaration of Independence, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, this is not an emotional walking around going, whee, yay, I'm so happy. What's that song? 'Cause I'm happy, whatever that song is. Yeah, that's fine. That's great. It's good to be happy. But I want people that experience true joy because they're alive, life, they're free, liberty, and they're moving towards a desired future that they really, really want. That's pursuit of happiness. You want to know why I do what I do? That's it. All right. To that end, I got to coach you up. Dylan is on the line in Tempe, Arizona. Dylan, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hey, how are you?
Man, I'm fired up today. Watch out. Watch out. I'm going to push you, baby. I'm going to help you. I'm going to challenge you. What are we doing?
Okay. So here's my situation. I'm 21. I live in Tempe, basically Phoenix, and I work. My dad owns a security company. I work for it. I've worked for it since before I was 18. Worked my way up. Now I'm the recruiting specialist. My base salary is $50,000 a year, and then I also have the opportunity bonus $1,000 a month, which I've hit every single month so far. And I don't have a degree, and I just find no purpose into doing any school. I'm enrolled in community college, but I haven't passed any classes the last 2 semesters. I just dropped them before the semester ends.
Yeah.
So
what specifically?
With that.
I mean, are you asking for my permission on something? You asking me to confirm this feeling? What are you asking?
I mean, well, I'm worried. One of my biggest fears is that I'm in this position because I worked really hard and harder than anyone else. But I mean, my dad does own the company, so if once that goes away, am I going to be able to get in a role like this somewhere else without a degree?
Yes.
Yes.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, because I actually think you're very level-headed, and I think you got a lot of common sense. So I'm gonna be the one asking the questions. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think there is a degree out there that could prepare you to do what you're doing, or even run the company, or move higher up the ladder in your company, your dad's company, or another company like it? So let's just call it small business. You think there's a degree that's going to prepare you, equip you to do what you want to do better than the experience you've gotten so far and the experience you could continue to get?
No, not better than what I'm doing right now.
Then just that's the answer.
You think so?
No. I know so. I know so. I'm going to be really bold. I don't think getting a master's in business administration does any more to prepare you than what you're doing now.
I agree.
You can learn about leading, or you can lead and then figure it out as you go. I can learn about leading while I'm leading.
Yeah.
I can learn about sales while I'm selling.
Yeah. I agree with, and you don't think I'll come into any situation down the line really where I just get stuck?
Do you think anybody gives a crap where you went to community college?
No.
Do you think anybody gives a crap if you have a degree, if you can actually get the job done?
No.
Some people do, but that's changing. I reported on that on this show yesterday.
Yeah.
The big trend of 2023 is going to be more and more companies removing the degree as a requirement. They care about skills or the ability to develop the skills. Dude, you're going to keep moving up in your dad's business, and you're going to have all kinds of practical business experience, leadership experience. True or false?
Very true.
Can you get any of that experience in a full-blown fancy college in Arizona?
No.
Can Arizona State teach you anything that your dad can and will teach you?
No.
Drop it. You have bought the lie of our culture, and it's not your fault, Dylan. So I'm going to be the guy who says what somebody has needed to say to you. It is not about my diploma or my distinction of the college I went to. It is about my character, my ability, and what I produce. Period. End of sentence. Drop college like a bad habit.
According to Glassdoor, the average job offer attracts over 250 applicants. If you've made it to the interview, you've already made a great impression. So now is the time to showcase how you are the best choice for the role. That's why we created How to Win the Interview. This free guide will walk you through the 5 strategies to help you stand out amongst the competition. With just some intentionality, you can prepare yourself to win the interview. Go to kencoleman.com/interview.
I am so thankful for you all, and the show is growing. I want it to keep growing because honestly, I really, really, really want to help as many people as possible. I want to help 100 million people. Can I just lay that out there? I want to help 100 million people reach their full potential. There you go. And I can do it, but I can only do it with your help. If this show is encouraging you, equipping you, even entertaining you in some way via podcast, will you specifically give us a review, a positive one only, please? And would you share it? You're the greatest marketing weapon in the world, and I'm grateful for you. And you give of your valuable time to me, and I don't think that is in any way something to sneeze at. I'm honored, humbled. Will you do that? If you're on YouTube, would you subscribe? We need to jack these subscriptions up. It helps with the algorithm. I don't know how to spell it, but they tell me it matters. So subscribe and share the show in one click. Would you do it? Thank you. Peter is joining us in Columbus, Ohio. Peter, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hi, Ken.
Hey, Peter, what's up? Man, I got to tell you. If I was any more fired up, I'd be levitating right now. So I want to help you. I want to channel that to you.
All right. So, Ken, this is my story. Last week, I was fired from my job. I was a tech consultant. A lot of what I do is just coding and interacting with clients.
I'm sorry.
It's unfortunate. And the thing was, I've been in that company for about a year.
Yeah.
When I was let go. It's just, leading up to that, I was put on a PIP, an improvement plan, and it was supposed to end later this month, but I was let go 2 weeks into it because the upper management just said that my improvements weren't. It just wasn't.
Before we get to your question. And we need to get to your question so I can lock in and help you quickly. We have limited time, and I want to help.
Do
you agree that you weren't making enough improvements?
I was trying. I agree. I agree to some extent. Not entirely, great. But.
All right, we'll work with that in a second. But I just wanted to know that you understand that. I know you were trying, but we need to get to at some point we need to get really aware on the gap between I was trying to improve, but I wasn't improving at enough of a pace. And there's some learnings there that will not discourage you, but should encourage you. In other words, the answers to your future as to what moves you make and how you can improve are built out of the reality of why you failed. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right, so what's your question?
I don't know where to go from here now that I've been fired. I'm looking for my next job, but the economy is going to go. I'm just worried about the economy. Tech doesn't look so good. I just don't know where to start.
Yeah. Okay. Well, first of all, we can't worry about the economy. We just must be prepared and agile. And one of the ways for you to be prepared and agile is to be making money, saving money, cutting your expenses, right? Getting debt free, all of those things. But all of those things are predicated on you bringing in income. So we don't get locked up and worried about what the economy may or may not do because you can't control that. What can you control? What you can control is what you're good at. You've got talent that you've turned into skill, and you can go acquire more skill, yes or no?
Yes.
There's a type of work that I think you've probably identified that you really enjoy doing. Is that true or false?
That's true.
What is that work? Tell me. What do you look forward to? What kind of tech work do you look forward to? What kind of tech work that when you get involved in, you lose track of time? Don't think, feel. What's the answer?
Just coding in general.
Perfect. You love coding. You look forward to it, right?
Yes.
My guess is that your enthusiasm looking towards it and enthusiasm in performing it is directly related to what you're coding. Is that true or false?
That's true.
So what would you love to code? Stop thinking about outside circumstances, and let's just say I could give you the dream job of actually coding something. What would it be?
I don't know right now.
Nah, that's not true. Because when I asked you that, a couple of things popped in your mind and you edited because what you really should say is, I'm not confident enough to give you that answer right now. Is that true?
That's true.
Oh, how did I know that? Been down this road before. I've been in a place of doubt, which creates confusion. So let's go back to the point where you self-edited and we get to do a rewind. I want you to give me the answer. It's not the answer for the rest of your life, by the way. It's right now. If I could give you a job coding right now, what would be the type of things you would want to code that you think would be the most fun, most exciting?
Just programs, just coding in general, just writing code, trying to solve problems, maybe just some.
What kind of problems?
Programs.
There you're thinking. Now you're thinking again. And I'm going to drive at this one more time because I've done this on the air enough to know there's a real answer there, and you're overthinking this. I don't care how it sounds. Dude, you're talking to a guy who knows nothing about coding. What problems would you get excited about solving today with coding? Say it.
I'm not confident to say this.
I know you're not confident, but I'm okay with it. I'm not going to judge you. Say it. You're thinking it. Just let it blurt out like a burp. Go.
Just the video games.
Now we've got something. Do you know why you couldn't say that? Do you?
I don't.
No, you do know. I'm going to keep pushing you, and I know I'm making you uncomfortable. This is where you need to be right now. Tell me the real raw emotion, why you're having a hard time telling me and all these people listening and watching that you want to code video games. Tell me what your emotion is. Now, say it.
Fear. It's fear of failure.
Yes. And may I say, I think it's fear of embarrassment. Someone looking at you and going, Peter, you're not good enough to code video games. Peter, am I right?
You're wrong on that one.
Okay, great. Great. I'm wrong. Fantastic. So you're afraid of truly failing, meaning going after it, not getting the job, and your parents or loved ones going, you're a loser. They're not going to say that, but that's what you fear. Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. So now that we know that the voice that's holding you back is sane, and can I also tell you that it's actually not even a fear of failure? I actually think it's doubt. See, fear is, let me explain. Fear is I am worried that something bad is going to happen. So that's where I went. I said, I think you're afraid of what other people are going to say and all this kind of stuff. And you were like, no, that's not it. So that's fear. Doubt. So fear is I'm worried that something bad is going to happen. Watch this. Doubt is I don't believe that the thing that I want, this good thing, can happen. Do you see the difference?
Yeah.
That's right. And I think you doubt that you are good enough, or you doubt that you don't have the connections, or whatever to actually code video games. So we now need to operate from, is that voice telling me the truth and protecting me, or lying to me and holding me back? And the answer is it's lying to you and holding you back, because here's the deal. You can work hard, bust your butt, and get good at coding, the type of coding that would allow you to do video games. The second thing is you can make connections and work at it, do other types of coding jobs, work your way up, jump from different ladder to different ladder, move up one ladder, and get to a point where you are truly qualified and able and connected to get a job video game coding. Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yes. Move forward, Peter. Hang on the line. Let's get him from paycheck to purpose, his manual to climb the mountain.
Thanks for listening to The Ken Coleman Show. For more, you can find the show on demand wherever you listen to podcasts and watch the show on YouTube. You can also find Ken across all social media by following @Ken Coleman.